Hey guys, before we get into the video, first I'd like to talk about our sponsor, No One. Today I'm going to talk about which is the best muzzle device in Rainbow Six Siege, and I will debunk some myths in the community about muzzle break, and we'll also share a couple of very useful things you didn't know of the new Operation Shadow Legacy. So let's go. Now, I made a lot of research and testing, but before I show you the results, let's get into context real quick. So here are all the muzzle devices available in the game as of right now. We got Suppressor, which gives you no sound but it does less damage. Compensator reduces the recoil over time. Flash Hider reduces small burst recoil. Muzzle Brake reduces the overall kick of 1 taps. And Extended Barrel, which provides full damage over a longer distance but no recoil compensation whatsoever. In this video, I'm putting to test the new Sam Fisher's weapon, the SC3000K, because 1, it's a new weapon and it allows all 5 muzzle devices. I tested all 3, single fire, burst fire, and full auto. And to decrease the amount of variables, I had no attachments on the weapon except for the muzzle device. And I also used a macro for burst and single firing to make it as equal and similar as possible. So let's get into it. First, full auto. Here we have 6 clips of a full magazine spray, and even though all of the patterns look somewhat similar frame by frame, out of all 6 options we have on the screen, Compensator and Flash Hider were the ones that had a better overall performance in full auto. But there's a difference. Compensator reduces recoil over time, meaning that the first shots will have full recoil and then it'll start to compensate. And Flash Hider, on the other hand, compensates the first couple shots, but you will end up with full recoil. And all of the other attachment patterns looked pretty similar, honestly. There was not a big difference except for the muzzle brake, which had a slightly better performance. So rating all of these devices from worst to best in full auto, we have no attachment, of course, being the worst, followed by Extended Barrel, then Suppressor, then Muzzle Brake, then Flash Hider, and on top, Compensator. Now let's move up to single fire. So here I'm shooting 10 rounds in single fire. The difference between shots is exactly 275 milliseconds, and here the clearly winner is the muzzle brake, of course. That being said, Flash Hider had some good results as well, and again all of the other were pretty similar. So rating this in single fire from worst to best, we have no attachment again, then Extended Barrel, then Suppressor, then Compensator, then Flash Hider, and on top, of course, Muzzle Brake. Now, let's take a look at Burst Fire, and here is where it gets interesting. I have thousands of hours on Siege, and I've always felt like Muzzle Brake was, for some reason, better than the other devices in some scenarios. Then, did some research and found out that there's a myth, quote unquote, that Muzzle Brake might not compensate the recoil, but it does decrease the time it takes the reticle to stabilize or go back to the origin per se. But in this test, after watching frame by frame, I really didn't see any significant difference to the other attachments. Maybe it's a gun thing because every gun is different and have different fire rates and damage and stuff. But as far as real testing, unfortunately, Muzzle Brake does not help in burst fire, or at least not in this specific weapon. So rating these in burst fire from worst to best, we have no attachment, of course, Extended Barrel, then Suppressor, then Muzzle Brake, then Compensator, and finally Flash Hider. So definitely Flash Hider gets the best score in the 3 tests combined. Now, does this mean you should use Flash Hider on every weapon? Of course not. Try to use this data to improve your gameplay. Maybe you like to one-tap spawn picks, go for Muzzle Brake. You like to go full auto with Maestro's ALDA, use Compensator. Or just in general, Flash Hider is the way to go. But as I said before, it depends on the operator, the weapon, and the player itself. Now, a couple of things you didn't know about the new season. Do you remember the one-punch vault for the barricaded doors and windows? As far as I know, they took this feature out of the game. I don't know if it's a bug or some malfunction in the test server, but it does not work anymore. The new gadget, Argus Launcher, is a projectile, but it does travel in a straight line, so you can put it pretty much anywhere in the map from any distance. And the laser stab has a very long range as well. I did some testing and it worked up to 60 meters and even more. Also, this gadget doesn't travel to bullet holes or punch holes like Ash's breaching round. This one takes more space. And this is it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. I would appreciate it if you like and subscribe to support the channel. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.